Welcome everyone to the very first episode of the Five Tool Baseball Network podcast. I'm Samuel Levin. In the top left, that's Ryan Schlesinger. In the bottom, that's Jake Morganstein. And we've got 4 segments for you guys today. Ryan, I'll start off with you. We've got our division winners to begin. So, Ryan, we'll just kick it off. I guess you guys ready to go? AL East division winner, who you got, Ryan?
Yeah, my AL East division winner is still going to be the Yankees, as much as I hate to say it. You look at the rest of this division, the Orioles, although they have a great young core with Colton Cowser, Gunnar Henderson, and Adley Rutschman, they lost Corbin Burns in free agency. They didn't really replace him. I know they got Charlie Morton, but that's not really going to help them that much. And then they had a slight downgrade in the outfield, going from Anthony Santander to Tyler O'Neill. So they did literally nothing to improve. And if anything, they declined this year after not even winning the division last year and only winning 91 games and not winning a single playoff game. I don't like how it looks for the Orioles, and I think they are the only real threat to the Yankees. You look at the Red Sox, who I do think are on the rise. I think that they have a chance to make some noise and possibly contend for the division in 2026 when some of their top prospects come up and solidify themselves a spot on the 26-man roster. But right now, I just don't see it. The Red Sox didn't really add to that offense this offseason. Yes, they did get Garrett Crochet via trade, and they also signed Walker Buehler. But does that really move the needle and push them from an 81-win team last year to a division winner this year? I don't think so. The Rays finished below 500 for the first time in a while last year. They did nothing to improve the team this offseason. Yes, they always find a way to at least be decent, but I don't see how they win the division this year over the Yankees. And then the Blue Jays, they did sign Anthony Santander, but they didn't do much else. And I just think they're kind of in a dry spot right now, even though they're not going to go into a rebuild. I don't think they're set up to compete and win 85 plus this year. Maybe they can surprise a few people and go on some hot streaks because they are a decent team, but I just don't see it for the Blue Jays. So
Yeah, I think what's cool about this division, I also agree with you that the Yankees will win the AL East, but I think what's cool about this division is every team could make the playoffs in this division, and you could argue even a team like the Blue Jays could make the playoffs, and you could back it up with a legitimate case. They could figure something out. You never know. Jake?
I'm going to agree with Ryan. I agree to disagree is what I put it. I agree that the New York Yankees are going to come back and win this division for a second year in a row. They did lose Juan Soto, but they had multiple replacements as they had Paul Goldschmidt to come in and play first. They had Cody Bellinger to play the outfield as well. They brought in Devin Williams and Max Fried to round out that pitching staff. But I don't think the Orioles are the team that the Yankees should be the most worried about. I think it's the Boston Red Sox. Even though they didn't do much on the hitting side, they do have these top prospects who that they will have a chance to call up. Roman Anthony being the hot name. And then when you look at their pitching staff, adding Garrett Crochet and Walker Buehler is huge for them. I really like what the Red Sox can do this season, but I still agree that the Yankees are the best team in the division.
Yeah, I really like the Red Sox future, Jake. I absolutely agree. Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer, all expected to debut at some point this year. We'll see if that actually happens. All right, so now for the AL Central, we'll start with Jake this time. Who you got?
Give me the Detroit Tigers. A lot of people are going to say the Cleveland Guardians. There's the Royals are also on the rise, but or the Minnesota Twins. But I really like the Detroit Tigers. Tarek Skubal is, in my opinion, the best pitcher in all of baseball when it comes to starting pitching. He's better than Paul Skeens. And for me, though, the Detroit Tigers, they have bats as well. Riley Green being the biggest name of the bats. They added Gleyber Torres this offseason. And their bullpen is also good as well. And I really like Tigers did last year. They made the postseason. They were able to win a series against the or against the Houston Astros, and then they really played well against the Guardians, taking them to 5 games before the Guardians ended up losing the Yankees in the ALCS. But I just think that the Tigers are the best team in the division, and it all stems from that pitching staff of theirs.
Yeah, I completely disagree with this one. I'll let you speak in a second, Samuel, because you're a Guardians fan. I'm going to take Samuel's side here because I know you're going to say the Guardians. The Guardians will win the AL Central. They won the AL Central pretty easily last year. They were probably the most underrated team in baseball. They actually gave the Yankees a run for their money in the ALCS, and I think that they will follow up on that this year in 2025. Not sure if they'll make the ALCS again, but they haven't really improved or declined, but they have a very young team, so they should only improve based on that. They have some top prospects who could maybe debut this year, if not next year. Like Travis Bazana, first overall pick. Jason Churio is coming up in their system. Chase DeLauder. They've got a lot of guys. And you also look at some guys like Kyle Manzardo and Brian Rocchio, who debuted last year, who are looking to have a breakout season this year. And that bullpen led by Emmanuel Clase and Cade Smith, along with other great middle relievers like Tim Herron, should only continue to be dominant, which is easily the best bullpen in baseball. So I don't see a world where the Guardians don't win this division. I just don't think the Tigers or Royals have done enough to actually legitimately compete with the Guardians, who are probably going to win 90+ again this year.
Yeah, I obviously agree. Cleveland is my division champion for the AL Central. I have to admit, I am a bit worried. Tigers, Twins, and Royals all have great cases to win the division this year. Yes, Cleveland lost Jimenez, Cleveland lost Naylor, but they signed back Carlos Santana to play first base. We all know what he did last time he played in Cleveland. He was an all-star starter. And for second base, I think, two reasons they traded Jimenez. One we think, one we probably know, is the reason we know is that to get out of the contract extension that they signed with Jimenez. And what we think is that there's a lot of trust they have in Bazana, whether he gets up this year or next year, whenever he makes his major league debut. There's a lot of trust there. They also got Luis L. Ortiz from the Pirates in the Jimenez trade when they flip-flopped Spencer Horwitz to Pittsburgh as they got him back from Toronto. So yeah, we'll see. But I think the Guardians repeat as AL Central champs this year, and I have a lot of trust in them. But I'm expecting to come down to the wire. There's going to be a really good race in the AL Central this year. All right, AL West. Who wants to go first for this one?
I'll go first with the AL West, and I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers. You look at the Rangers; they probably had the most underrated offseason out of any team. Yes, they lost Kirby Yates, but they brought in Jake Berger. I believe that at his best, when he's healthy, he is a slight upgrade over Nathaniel Lau. They're going to get another year of Josh Smith next year. He was a great rookie last year. Maybe Evan Carter returns to his 2023 postseason form. And they also signed Jock Peterson, which was a very underrated move. So that offense right now, led by Jock Peterson, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Josh Young, Evan Carter, it is just stacked. Jonah Heim as well. I mean, that is arguably the best offense in the American League. They're not the best team in the American League due to their pitching, which is still really questionable. But I think that offense is good enough to outweigh the pitching and get past the Mariners, who I think are the only other legit team to compete with the Rangers for the AL West. You can make the argument for the Astros, but they haven't really done anything, especially if they lose Bregman. It's not looking good for the Astros. The Mariners, yes, they do have an elite pitching rotation, arguably the best in baseball, maybe the best behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have like 5 aces. You can make the argument that the Mariners also have 5 aces of their own, but they have literally no offense. And unless Julio Rodriguez takes a massive step forward after taking a step backward last year and becoming more of just a good player and not an elite franchise cornerstone, I don't really see the Mariners winning this one over the Rangers.
Yeah, this could be the first time that we see all different picks in the division. I have the Mariners winning the division this year. I think the rotation is way too good for any team. I mean, you have guys that are consistently going to give you 6 innings pitched. You could easily see 10 straight games out of them at some point this year where their starting pitchers go 6 innings in every single game. That's how good the rotation is. And yeah, we all saw it last year. Didn't get into the playoffs, but I think it can get them the division title this year. Astros took a step down. Rangers will be, I think, probably second place. I mean, it's gonna be a tight division race here. I think it'll be between the 3 teams, obviously, and I got the Mariners coming out on top with the pitching. Jake?
Give me the Texas Rangers. I like what Ryan said about Jake Berger, and even though they did lose Kirby Yates and Nate Lowe, I really like what the Texas Rangers are able to do. They did lose Max Scherzer, which wasn't really a big loss, but when you look at the Mariners, for me, is when I see the Mariners, even though they do have these like 5 aces, is when you look at their home versus away, they are much better at home. And if they could find a way to win on the road, then I really think that they have the possibility to win this division. But judging from previous seasons, I really like what the Rangers are able to do. The Jake Burger is a great addition. They have all the bats like Jonah Heim, like Adolis Garcia, like Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. I really like what the Rangers have done, how they built up this core. If Jacob deGrom can find a way to stay healthy, it would be huge for them. And I really like what the Rangers are able to do in the AL West.
Yeah, I want to discuss this a bit more if you guys are okay with that. The Rangers, the thing I don't like about them is that I think their pitching is questionable because deGrom is going to be their ace, but who knows how long he'll really be healthy for. We've seen that problem develop in the past. There's a question about the development of Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. No one really knows how they're going to do. They could easily not be at their best this year. We don't really know. And the bullpen is not the best either, to be honest. I mean, Josh Sborz, Chris Martin, those are really the highlights of the bullpen. Does not really speak to me whatsoever, to be honest. I value pitching more than hitting. I think the Rangers do not have the pitching to win this division.
To counter that is, I'm looking at the Seattle Mariners splits from last season, and this is what Teoscar Hernandez said, what a bunch of other people speculated is the little angle difference on the pitching mound in Seattle versus in every other city. It could be a huge reason why these pitchers for Seattle were so good, because at home they just have this angle advantage. They were 49-32 at home last year and 36-45 on the road, which to me, those are some huge numbers, because if they are again below 500 on the road, you have to win the division, a division like this especially, you need 86, 87, 88 wins. And if you're going to need to win 50 games at home and have that huge home record, I don't know if you could do it. That's why I like the Rangers better. To me, they feel like just a more consistent team. They were in the World Series 2 years ago, and that's just some other reasons why I really like the Rangers.
All right. Yeah, I think that's up for debate. It's a good argument on both sides, in my opinion. So we're going to head now to the NL East. Who wants to? I guess Jake will start this one.
So all of us here are fans of teams in the NL East. Samuel's a Phillies fan. Ryan's a Marlins fan. I'm a New York Mets fan. But I will be going with the Philadelphia Phillies for me to be the 2025 NL East division winners. They won it last year. They got better, adding Jesus Luzardo to that rotation. The bullpen is a little shaky with losing Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez, but I really like what the Phillies are able to do. Their bats are really good with Kyle Schwarber leading the way, Bryce Harper, and out in the outfield, Brandon Marsh plays out there. Is definitely not a bad piece. They have Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto, and overall just a lot of pieces all around that team. And the rotation got better, like I said, with Jesus Luzardo. Pitching wise, they also still have Ranger Suarez. They have Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez as well. I like what the Phillies are able to do with consistency, with winning the division, and just playing good baseball around.
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for not saying the Mets, because sometimes you can be very biased. So I'm actually surprised you went with the Phillies. My division winner pick is going to be the Miami Marlins. No, I'm just kidding. Let me go with the Atlanta Braves. I think it's going to be very close between the Phillies and Braves, and I'm not really disagreeing with you. I think like the difference between the Phillies and Braves and wins is probably only going to be like 1, 2, or 3. These are two of the best teams in the National League, if not the two best, excluding the Dodgers, obviously. But if the Braves can stay healthy, unlike last year, they are, probably the second best team in baseball. Ronald Acuna Jr. is coming back from a torn ACL. Spencer Strider is coming back from Tommy John. So there's question marks around both of them because it's Acuna's second torn ACL. And then there's always question marks when a pitcher gets Tommy John, especially at such a young age, like Spencer Strider. But I just think that this upside of the Atlanta Braves is too good to pick against. Matt Olson, even though he took a step down last year, he still hit over 30 home runs. He's still one of the best first basemen in baseball. Austin Riley's still very good. Michael Harris is good when he stays healthy. So I just don't see a way for me to pick against this Braves team. They also just added Jurickson Profar, who was playing like an MVP candidate for the majority of the season until he slowed down a little bit down the stretch in the second half. This Braves team is so stacked, they're probably winning 100+ if they stay relatively healthy.
Yeah, Jake's a Mets fan. He's going with the Phillies. I'm a Phillies fan. I'm going with the Atlanta Braves as well. The Atlanta Braves, like you said, Ryan, last year it kind of just felt like a throwaway year for them. They got very unlucky with injuries. Acuna out for the year, Strider out for the year. And yes, they made the playoffs, but it was like 2-0 loss to the Padres in the series. They were probably the most forgettable team in the postseason this year. I think we can all agree on that. And the rotation, you can argue. Who would we say is the Braves ace? It's probably Spencer Strider still, right? Like, yes, Chris Sale won the Cy Young, but like
I think
Strider.
Chris Sale's gonna take a step down though. I mean, he's getting older.
Yes, but if you win the Cy Young and you take a step down, how much of a step down can you really take?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And you also have Ronaldo Lopez. He had some success last year. They have young guys coming into the rotation. Spencer Schwellenbach, AJ Smith-Schauber. They could take a step forward this year, along with Bryce Elder. And they get Acuna back. They've got good. From what I'm looking at the roster as well, they've got great bullpen pieces. Some that could really take a step forward. Yes, they lost Minter, but I think they can still take a step forward with the bullpen. And they're hitting. Their offense is still really good.
With Chris Sale,
Albies, all of them.
Same with Chris Sale though. He went from like here to here when he went to Atlanta last year, which is a huge question mark for me.
But that was primarily due to injuries.
He's in his third, fifth, 5-year-old season. I mean, I don't know how much more that the Braves will get out of him. But
that was primarily due to injuries, though. He was very injured in Boston. Like, he barely even pitched during his last few years with the Red Sox. So if he stays healthy, I really wouldn't be concerned with Chris Sale. I think that if he's healthy the whole season with no injury concerns whatsoever, he should at least have a sub 3.25 ERA.
Yeah, if you look at the Braves offense, I see basically no weaknesses. Like, the only weakness you could argue is like Orlando Arcia at short, but like I don't really view that as much of a weakness. If that's your biggest weakness, then that's a dang good team. So yeah.
To me, the big three teams this division are 3 of the 4 best teams in all of baseball, besides the Los Angeles Dodgers. With the Phillies, like I said about their bats and their pitching, the Braves, very similar built teams with star bats, good pitching. And going back to what you were talking about with the Braves, with Chris Sale and their other rotation, I really like, and who I think is going to take a huge step this year, Spencer Schwellenbach. He pitched very well to end the season, and he had some really long games where he was going 7-8 innings. And that's a guy that I think that's going to really help this Braves rotation for the future, and especially for this season.
Yeah, and let me say this: I'm not doubting the Philadelphia Phillies here. Like, their rotation is still amazing. And like their offense is still amazing, but I think the Braves, if everyone stays healthy, they have a chance to like be the second best team in baseball behind the Dodgers this year.
Back on the Phillies, like part of the reason why I didn't take them to win the division, even though they have like one of the best rotations in baseball with 5 guys who, when they're at their best, are probably all ace caliber starting pitchers. It's just because of that offense. It's so top heavy with Bryce Harper and Trey Turner, who you can't even fully trust Trey Turner at this point. He's had some really bad cold stretches. I know he was pretty consistent throughout last year, but he's no like superstar cornerstone player. But then outside of those two, Nick Castellanos is declining. Schwarber's getting older. Realmuto's declining. Bohm and Stott are still big question marks. Like, I can't fully trust the Phillies offense. And I just feel like the Braves are a way more balanced team with a really good offense and really good rotation, whereas the Phillies have like an elite rotation, but an offense that at its worst can only be like a slightly above average offense, in my opinion.
To me, this division is really going to come down to which teams get the most injured, because all 3 teams have the chance to really just win this division, get up to the mid to high 90s in wins range. And it's really just which team is going to have to suffer the most, like how the Braves suffered last year. Is it going to be the Phillies? Is it going to be the Mets? What's going to happen with all the injuries? To me, that's what's going to really decide what happens with the division.
Yeah, one thing I agree with both your points. They both have some good arguments on every team's side, really. What people don't realize is in sports how perfect everything has to go for your team to win a championship every year. Like, you really do have to get lucky sometimes, and luck is part of the game, doubting it or not. But yeah, it is. So we're gonna go to the NL Central now, one of the more interesting divisions, I think. It's really a 2-team toss-up, though. I think is what I'm seeing mostly. That's what I'm seeing. It's a 2-team toss-up between the Cubs and Brewers. I'll go first on this one. I'm taking the Chicago Cubs. I like their team this year, and their Shota, the staff is really good, and I like their hitting too. Like I like Saya, Hap, the outfield I think is really good. Yeah, I think they've got a really good team this year.
Yeah,
It's
I
the most
completely
balanced team.
agree with I completely agree with what you just said. It is a two-team toss-up, and it is the Chicago Cubs. I'm not saying that they're a lock to win the division, but I think they have a pretty solid chance. This is a very mid team that probably wouldn't win the division in any other division. But fortunately for them, they're in the NL Central, which is probably the weakest division in Major League Baseball right now. And their team is still solid. Kyle Tucker is a huge addition, even though they're losing Isak Paredes, who they sent to the Astros back in that trade. But still, if you get a PCA breakout season, that'll add to the offense a lot, especially with the loss of Cody Bellinger. And then you have a great outfield duo or trio, if considering if you want to count Seiya Suzuki with Seiya, PCA, and Tucker, which would be one of the better outfields in Major League
Ian
Baseball.
Happ also.
Yeah, and Ian Haps. That's
Yeah.
four guys right there. And then the infield is still solid with Michael Bush uh, and Nico Horner. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Cubs. Like you mentioned, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record here, but they do have Shota Imanaga and Justin Steele. And although that rotation is very reliant on the 1-2 punch, it's so top heavy. That's still a great top two, one of the best top twos of a rotation in Major League Baseball. So I like what the Cubs have going for them. Do they win 90 games? Maybe not, probably not, but they should probably still win the division.
Yeah, Ian Happ is a very big model of consistency, by the way. I believe he's got a 115 OPS plus at least in the past 3 years. Jake?
Listen, I understand where both of you guys are at with the Cubs and Brewers, but I like the Cincinnati Reds a lot this season. Elly De La Cruz, to me, is going to take a huge, huge step. He could hit for 30-plus home runs, steal 80 bags. We'll see what they want to do with him. Pitching-wise, they added Brady Singer, who I think was a great addition. But when it comes to this division, it's going to be anywhere from 85 to 86 wins to win this division. It's going to be a toss-up all year. Brewers, Cubs, Reds. You could even throw the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cardinals, all five teams. It's going to be close the whole year. I just like what the Cincinnati Reds are doing, and that's why I believe that the Reds are going to win the division.
Yeah, you didn't even mention Terry Francona, their new manager. Of course, I'm going to talk about him, but yeah, he's their new manager. He's got a good. I think he's got a good team. Like any of the other teams could break out this year. We really have no idea. Like it could happen. I don't see it happening myself, but it very well could. And the Brewers still have a shot, even though they lost to Damas. Still a solid base there. We'll see. But yeah, Ryan is not here currently. I think he's going to be right back in a couple of minutes. But
do we
can
have
all,
to talk about the AL?
Yeah, let's just.
I mean,
Dodgers going to win the AL West. I think we can all agree.
Dodgers. Yep.
I mean, you could say that 100 wins for this team would be a disappointment this year. Like if they get 100 wins, that's a disappointment, which is crazy to say. But yeah.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are built like an all-star team. They've got the top three of Shohei, Freddie, Mookie. You have Teoscar Hernandez. You added Michael Conforto for a one-year bridge piece, and you just don't even get me started on this pitching rotation. Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, Shohei Ohtani is going to be pitching for them this season, and more and more pieces coming. Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates. The bullpen's really, really good. Anthony Banda. And just overall, just a great, great team from all aspects of the Los Angeles Dodgers. If they win 100 games, that is bad for them. That is not a good standing record for them. They want their 105, 106 wins, and I think that they could break that 120 wins that no team's done.
And if you don't mind me backtracking for a second real quick to the Cubs. No, me and Ryan both didn't even mention that they acquired Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley from the Astros.
Ryan talked about Kyle Tucker.
Ryan talked about it? Okay. Like, it's a very good foundational team. Like, I think they could easily win the division. Even if there's a team that could run away with this division, it's definitely the Cubs. All right, back to the Dodgers, though. Just want to mention that because I don't know how that escaped my brain for a second, but yeah. The Dodgers, like you said, Jake, 100 wins. This would somehow be a disappointment. It is kind of like an all-star team. Ryan, anything to say about the NL West?
I mean, I honestly disagree with you saying that 100 wins would be a disappointment just because they won 98 last year. And even after the regular season, before they won the World Series, nobody was calling that a disappointment. Did the team improve? Yes, but there's like not really that much that they can improve on. Like they were such an elite team last year. They're such an elite team this year that like even if they get super injured like they did last year and then get healthy for the postseason and win it all, I wouldn't really consider the regular season a disappointment if they don't
I'm
win
not
as
saying
long as they win.
I'm not saying it would be a disappointment, but you could argue that it could be.
You
But
could argue it, but if they lose, honestly,
No.
to me, like if Mookie and Freddie both miss time this year, and like Glasnow and Yamamoto get injured again, but then they get healthy for the postseason, and they only end up winning 95 games, but they still run away with the division because, in my opinion, every other team in that division is an 80 win range team. Probably like maybe you could make the argument that the Giants or the D-backs or maybe even the Padres are like maybe upper 80s, very low 90s win teams. But the Dodgers, even if they get super injured, I wouldn't consider a disappointment as long as they just win the division and then get the job done in the postseason.
I forgot to mention Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Blake Snell, Blake Snell, he threw a no-hitter last year. His second halves of the season have been some of the best in MLB history, and Yamamoto is definitely going to probably have an improvement. He pitched very well in the postseason this past year, including big games in the NLCS and in the World Series for the Dodgers, but I don't think that there's a team in this division that will ever compete with the Dodgers.
And it's crazy how Blake Snell's second half, he probably is like 10 games, and like he made himself go from $10 million value to like over 150, I believe was the contract $1 million value, which is insane. Yeah, but the Dodgers, they're an all-star team. You could literally compare them to that. It is really good all around, that team, and I'm excited to watch it. So before we get to the next segment, I just wanted to ask: does anyone have like seeding of like 1, 2, 3 of where they'd put their division winners?
It's too hard to say now for me.
Yeah, for me, it's honestly pretty easy. I'll start with the National League. It's obviously the Dodgers at number 1, unless they, like I said, get injured a lot like last year, and Mookie, Freddie, Yamamoto, Snell, and other guys go down for a considerably long amount of time. So that would be the only way they don't get first place. And then my number 2 is obviously going to be the National League East winner, whether that's the Phillies or Braves. I personally think it'll be the Braves. There can be either team. Like I said, it's just such a big toss-up. But whoever wins that division should be the number 2. And then the number 3 is the NL Central winner, whether that's the Cubs, Brewers, or Reds. I mean, the winner of that division probably won't win more than 90 games. So they are the clear number 3. And then moving on to the American League, my number 1 is going to be the Yankees. I don't think the Guardians have like enough star power to catch them in wins. They had 2 less wins than the Yankees last year, and I think that'll stand true in 2025. And then my number 2 is actually going to be the Cleveland Guardians. I think they'll win around 92 to 95 again this year. And then my 3 is going to be the Mariners or Rangers or maybe the Astros, depending on who wins that AL West. I just think no team in the AL West is like complete enough to not be the third place division winner, because the Mariners are so pitching heavy. The Rangers are so top heavy with the offense, and the Astros are more balanced, but they're really just not that good anymore. So, yeah.
So I think a lot of these divisions, like you could easily treat divisional games this year in some of these divisions like playoff games, because that's how close I think they're going to be. AL Central being one of those divisions, NL Central, NL East, AL West. You could even argue AL East. All of those are going to be
really every division.
They could all be down the wire.
I mean,
probably.
But I agree with what Ryan said. Basically the same thing, except I would move, since I picked Tigers to win the AL Central, I would just flip-flop the Tigers and the Rangers. But besides that, I basically just agree with everything that he said.
All right. For me, I'd go same as Ryan. Dodgers, Braves, Cubs in the NL. And for me in the AL, I would actually go Yankees 1, Mariners 2, Guardians 3. I think the AL Central is going to be so close that you're going to see maybe even the winner is not even going to get 90 wins. I know that might be a crazy take, but that's how I see it playing out. All right. So now we all came up with 2 hot takes for this season before the show. If you guys want, I'll do my first 2 hot takes. My first one.
I think you should do one, then we'll go in a circle.
Okay, cool. My first hot take is the Seattle Mariners are going to make the ALCS. If they make the playoffs, their pitching is very good and is definitely good enough to at least put them in the ALCS. Ryan?
Yeah. My hot take is going to be that the Giants make noise in the NL West. They get a wild card spot over the D-backs and Padres, and they possibly win 90 plus games. Giants had one of the more underrated off seasons, led by first-time president of baseball operations, Buster Posey. They got Willie Adames, and I think that most of the team is probably going to take a step forward. It's a very young team, uh, but you look at like Patrick Bailey possibly having an offensive outbreak, and then guys like Lamont Wade Jr., Marco Luciano, Tyler Fitzgerald, who was really good in the second half last year. They're going to get another year of Matt Chapman, who was surprisingly really good last year, like even better than his contract. And then also Jung-Hoo Lee, who signed with the Giants last year out of Korea. He was injured for most of the season. I believe he missed around like 120 games, and he only had 145 at bats. But I'm excited to see like if he emerges as one of the best contact hitters and defensive center fielders in baseball. So I think like the Giants could surprise a lot of people with how young they are and how under the radar they are.
You mentioned all those young stars. You didn't even mention Heliot Ramos as well. He was very good last year as well. Jake, your first hot take?
So you guys are going with teams that you think are going to overperform. I'm going with one of mine that is going to be a really underperforming team. And to me, that's the Baltimore Orioles. And I think that the Baltimore Orioles are going to miss the 2025 postseason. And here is why. The Baltimore Orioles pitching staff is one of the worst in all of baseball when it comes to starting pitching. It's up for debate that it's either Trevor Rogers or Grayson Rodriguez to be their ace. Zach Eflin's also there and Charlie Morton. But to me, that even though the rotation, it's insanely mid, is what I'll call it. And when it comes to the bats, one of their best bats, Anthony Santander, gone. And they replaced him with Tyler O'Neill, who's a way better defender than Santander ever was. But the bat just isn't going to be the same when it comes to the Baltimore Orioles. They got swept last year by the Kansas City Royals, where they didn't put up a run in Game 2. And the year before that, they got swept in a best-of-5 game series with the Texas Rangers, which is something that you don't want to see if you're an Orioles fan. And I think that they're going to take a step down. The AL is really tight, even though it's a lot worse than the National League. I just think that they'll miss the playoffs.
Yeah, that was actually a take I was considering making as well. I like that take, Jake. Also, something just seems off about that team. Like, I can agree with that. Something fell off like late season last year. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, second round of hot takes. I'll go first. My NL Cy Young winner is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 3 ERA last year. I think he's got a chance to really break out, take a big step ahead, and become the best pitcher in the NL.
Holy,
you look at you look at Corbin Burns and like the talent that's in the NL. Like a lot of those guys can easily just have a fluke year. You never really know. And if Yamamoto becomes that really good pitcher that the Dodgers signed him for $300 million to be, he's got a real good shot at the NL Cy Young, and that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. My second hot take is going to be that the Marlins shock the world and win at least 70 games. Everyone looks at the Marlins and says that they are like the worst team in baseball, right there with the Chicago White Sox, maybe like the 29th best team in the league. But I'm looking at this potential lineup right now, and I think that the upside of this lineup really isn't that bad. You got Liam Hicks, Rule 5 draft pick at catcher, who's one of the better contact hitting catchers in the minor leagues last year. Davidson De Los Santos led all of the minor leagues in home runs with around 40 last year. Otto Lopez is one of the best defensive second basemen in baseball. Xavier Edwards hit over 300 during the final 3 months of the season and also hit for the cycle and stole like over 30 bases in half a season. So he could go like hit over 300 and steal over 50 bags this year, and that would make him like one of the more valuable players in all of Major League Baseball. Connor Norby's looking to continue on his great second half last year after being traded over from the Orioles for Trevor Rogers. He's an exciting young player. And then the outfield has a ton of upside. Jesus Sanchez hits the ball really hard. He's one of the strongest hitters in the league right now based on exit velocity. So if he could start lifting the ball a little more, I could see him hitting like 25 to 30 home runs this year and leading that Marlins outfield. And then Griffin Conine, Dane Myers, Kyle Stowers, Derek Hill, and other guys, Victor Mesa Jr., have all shown like a ton of promise. So I think that this team can be okay at best. Their bullpen's very good as well with Declan Cronin and Calvin Fauché, who are probably going to be flipped at the deadline, but they could still make an impact in the first half. And then their rotation is a ton of upside as well. Sandy Alcantara coming off Tommy John surgery. We'll see if he returns to his Cy Young form. He looked really good in his live bullpen late in the year. And then Yuri Perez is going to come back at some point. He's one of the best young pitchers in baseball. And they also have other guys like Ryan Weathers and Braxton Garrett's Tommy John, but Max Meyer and Edward Cabrera, who are looking to take a big step forward this year.
Jake?
There's not much to talk about with the Los Angeles Angels, but one guy that you can talk about is Michael Nelson Trout. And my hot take is that Michael Nelson Trout is going to win the 2025 American League MVP award if he stays healthy for the entire season. Mike Trout has been one of the best players in baseball throughout his entire career. And the last 3 years, he has been hit with injuries. And it has been really, really sad if you're an Angels fan and if you're a Mike Trout fan that they've had to see that. The Angels, they only won 63 games last season, but Mike Trout is still one of the best players in all of baseball. As a defender, he's able to rob home runs, make crazy diving catches, and with the bat, he has over 300 career home runs in his 15 seasons of play, which is still a very good number. And to me, Mike Trout is still one of the best players in the American League, and the only player that would really be contending against him for that American League MVP is Aaron Judge. And to me, if Mike Trout stays healthy the whole year, I think that due to his defense combined with his bat, to me, he is going to win the AL 2025.
Yeah, I think that is one of the worst takes I've ever heard. I love Mike Trout. I think he has a chance to contend for MVP if he stays healthy, but he probably won't even be a finalist. You mentioned Aaron Judge. You said he's the only competitor in the American League. How about Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr., who are both coming off two of the best seasons we've ever seen from a shortstop, especially for their age. They're probably only going to take a step forward this year because they were both in their young 20s. There's a ton of competition in the American League, and I just don't see how Mike Trout wins it. Even if he has a great season, he could be a finalist. He's not winning it. Not to mention Corey Seager's in that league. There's just so many talented young hitters in that league, and Mike Trout just has no path to winning the AL MVP in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I like the take of a comeback season, no injuries, he really returns to his old self, you could say. But I think Trout, the thing is, I don't really I like the take. I think it's a really unique take, and I like the prospect of it. But like you said, I think the player pool's too big. Ryan didn't even mention. I'm going to say it, obviously. Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, I just thought about that. He almost went 40 for 40. Trout isn't
almost
doing
went
that
40
this year.
40.
Trout,
last game got postponed, but
Trout may hit 30 home runs and play decent defense in the outfield, but he can't run the bases that well anymore. And
but
at best, he's maybe a slightly better hitter than Jose Ramirez if he stays healthy the whole year. But I don't see it. And Ramirez is also an elite defender.
The way I view it, it's not anything to discard Jake's take, but this is more about the team. There's 3 teams in baseball that I think right now have no hope. The White Sox, the Angels, and the Rockies.
What about the Marlins?
No, they're on a full-on rebuild. If that rebuild goes well, if that rebuild goes well, then it's they say that they're fully committed to a rebuild. So that's why
they're really looking to the future of the team. As our good friend,
that means they have
good
hope.
friend. But our good friend LMF is not the biggest fan of the future of the team. But going back to Mike Trout, to me, I look at his 2022 season and I say that it's Mike Trout. I think that he could return to that form even coming off 2 years of injury. 2022, he hit 40 homers, had a 999 OPS. I just think that if he could somehow return to that form, which I truly believe he can, he is Mike Trout. He used to be the best player in baseball.
Yeah,
If he can return to that form, he can lead, or not lead the Angels, but he can lead himself.
Yeah, he's 2 years. Yeah, he's 2 years from having 40 home runs in what I believe is less than 120 games, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, I like the take. He could have that bounce back year. I think it's closer than many people actually realize. So yeah, all right. We ready for the next segment? We've got your favorite offseason move that happened this year. Ryan, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dodgers signing Kirby Yates. The Dodgers had already added to their bullpen. They added Giovanni Gallegos, and then they added Tanner Scott on, I believe, the fifth largest contract in baseball history for a reliever. And then they followed up on that by signing Kirby Yates, who was originally their backup plan. But then nobody was willing to give Kirby Yates like around $10 million for 1 year after being one of the best relievers in baseball. So the Dodgers just say, okay, we'll get him if nobody else wants him because the rest of the league just doesn't care, I guess. There were so many other teams that could have gotten him to improve their bullpen. The Braves, the Mets, just to name a few. But the Dodgers just snagged him, and now he just adds to what was already the best bullpen in baseball. Now it's maybe the best bullpen we've ever seen in Major League Baseball history.
Jake?
I really thought about that Kirby Yates move, and I really like that Kirby Yates move. But to me, the Arizona Diamondbacks adding Corbin Burnes is something that not a lot of people saw coming. And what to me is going to turn out to be the best offseason acquisition from this season. Corbin Burnes pitched with the Baltimore Orioles last year, came over from the Brewers, is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, and he is able to lead this Diamondbacks rotation. As you talked about the Cubs 1-2 punch with Justin Steele and Shota DiMaggio, the Diamondbacks have a better 1-2 punch with Corbin Burnes and Zach Gallen as well. They have other players like Ryan Nelson in that rotation, and it really just gives them an extra, almost like breathing room in that rotation with Corbin Burnes. Burnes is going to go into Arizona. He's going to pitch really, really well, and to me, he's going to lead the Diamondbacks to make the postseason. And if they maybe can make almost like a 2023 run again, I don't think that they'll be able to, but I think it's very possible that they can with the addition of Corbin Burnes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm looking forward to this year is that every day there's going to be a great starting pitcher, multiple great starting pitchers heading out for teams to the mound every day, which is going to be really fun to watch. If you're a fan of seeing nasty pitches and all that, I'm really excited to see that. And my favorite offseason move is Jurickson Profar going to the Atlanta Braves. The reason for this is that the main reason is how cheap this deal was. I believe it was 3 years, $42 million, $12 million a year for a guy that's entering his age 32 season for just 3 years, so you know, age 32, 33, 34 season, which I think is really good. He's coming off a great year, and considering a guy like Matthew Boyd went out and pitched 6 innings, had like a 1 ERA, and got signed for $14.5 million a year, the fact that Profar can go out and have a great season as well and get $12 million a year, that is a huge deal for the Atlanta Braves.
14 a year.
My favorite. It's 14?
Yeah.
Still cheaper than that. That's just crazy for me. Oh yeah, I meant to say 14. That's my bad. Did I say 12?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I meant 14. But yeah, I mean, it's still a very cheap deal for the Braves to get him that way. And if he even keeps it up with like 3-4 stat performance, that's still really good. As now, here we go. Our last segment of the day. We've got game time here. I guess that's what we're calling it. I don't know. I just had to come up with a name on the fly. Sorry. We've got the Dodgers draft. Well, it's not. We're not drafting Dodgers. We're drafting a team with NL players. You can use one player for every team to beat that you think could beat the Dodgers. So you got to be smart to this. You could encounter values here, like which player could have the biggest drop off compared to the rest of their team. You got to consider a lot here. So I'll get the first pick. I believe Ryan's going to get the second pick, and Jake's going to get the third pick. It'll be a snake draft, though. 9 position players, 3 starting pitchers, and a setup man and a closer is what we've got working. But I believe we can still use a closer as our setup man. Is that correct?
You can.
Okay.
All right, you can make your first pick.
1 player per team, so you got to be smart with your picks here.
You can make your pick.
All right, so my first pick is who I believe is just the most valuable player in the NL now on the Dodgers, and his name is Juan Soto.
And right?
And I'll put him in right field for now, but I might switch him around later, if that's allowed.
Yeah. All right, just give me 1 second. I'm going to copy this.
All right.
pause the recording.
All right, Ryan.
Okay, Ryan's got all the teams set up now.
All right.
Time
You
for
know
his
what's
pick.
crazy is that as much as I despise the Mets, I'm gonna start off my draft with a New York Met and the second Met of this draft right out the gates here, and I'm gonna go with Francisco Lindor. I think outside of any Dodgers players, Lindor is probably one of the most valuable position players in the National League. He's a very good hitter. He was an MVP candidate last year. He finished second in National League MVP voting, and he is arguably the best defensive shortstop in baseball. So cannot go wrong with Francisco Lindor, and I will take him as my starting shortstop.
Well, you guys just left
Good
me
pick.
with two great pieces. And the first guy that I'm going to go with is, to me, he is the second best pitcher in baseball and the best pitcher in the National League. Coming from the Pittsburgh Pirates, they have no one besides Paul Skeens. So give me Paul Skeens with my first pick. The
Can't
value,
go wrong with that.
the value in taking a Pittsburgh Pirates player and who to me is the second best pitcher in baseball behind Tariq Skubal is a great pick for me is Paul Skeens. And with my second pick, as much as I despise the Atlanta Braves like Ryan hates the Mets, give me Ronald Acuna Jr. There's no injuries in this, so Raj is going to be healthy the whole season. We saw what he was able to do when he was healthy the whole season. And to me, Ronald Acuna Jr. has the possibility of winning the MVP award every single year, no matter
Ryan,
who in that league.
Ryan, you put shortstop on the Lindor, not the Mets.
Oh, thank you.
Good picks there. Can't go wrong with that, Jake.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go with a value pick, positional value right here. Far and away the best catcher in the National League, and probably the best catcher in all of Major League Baseball. Let me go with William Contreras, the only really elite, really good Brewers player is William Contreras. So I'm gonna take him for team and positional value.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm actually gonna sort of piggyback off that as well. I'm gonna take Corbin Burns as my ace. I know they've got Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte there, but I feel like locking up a really good ace is important.
All right, next pick.
All right. Feel like I gotta go with a bad team. I don't know. We'll see. You know what? I think there's not too much value in San Francisco, so I'm gonna take Willie Adames at short.
All right, I actually like that pick.
Ryan, back to you.
All right. So I kind of want to go Bryce Harper here, but I don't know how much I like him at first base because you have other options at first. I'm gonna take a different Philly. I'm gonna go probably the most consistent starting pitcher in baseball. Let me go Zach Wheeler to be my ace.
Nice. Yeah. Good pick, but not the best team value. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with team value here, and I'm going to go with Ellie De La Cruz to be my shortstop.
Ooh.
Ellie is really like the only top player on the Reds, and he's going to be a big piece for my team. And
Jake,
as well, I'm going to continue in that same division in the NL Central, and I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker to play left field for me.
Ooh.
Tucker is arguably a top 5 overall outfielder in the game of baseball, and to bring him in is going to be great alongside Ronald Acuna Jr.
All right.
Okay. Jake, also, you got great defense from Ellie De La Cruz. I heard he's really good at defense.
He's good. He's really good when it comes to the fancy, tough plays, but when it comes to the routine, it's very shaky.
Most errors in baseball. You're going to like that.
Well, I do have Ronald Acuna Jr. playing in right field.
True.
All right. I'm going to continue with my rotation dominance. I'm trying to beat the Dodgers by pitching, and I'm going to take an Atlanta Brave right here. Let me go with Spencer Strider, who consistently throws over 100 miles per hour. He's probably the closest thing we have to Paul Skeens right now in Major League Baseball, even though he's coming off Tommy John surgery. I trust him to have a sub-3 this year with well over 200 strikeouts.
I feel like I got to keep following my team value strategy. Let's see. I'm gonna go. Give me. Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna take off Chicago here. I'm gonna take Ryan Presley at the setup role. I don't know how good of a pick that is, really, but he'll be the setup guy at least. And my yeah, I'm just gonna go Bryce Harper first. Actually, someone's got to do it at some point. So he's a great ad. So you put first base. I like my team so far. We'll see.
All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna go with team value here. I'm gonna open up my bullpen here, and I'm gonna take Ryan Helsley
Come on, that was my
at the
pick.
closer spot. He's probably the only really good St. Louis Cardinals player. He led Major League Baseball in saves last year. So I really like this pick for positional value at the closer spot because outside of the Dodgers, there's not a ton of elite relief pitchers in the National League, and obviously team value with the Cardinals.
That was my pick, man.
Yeah. All right. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of forgot about Helsley. I probably should have taken him.
I wanted to go Helsley, man.
That was not good.
That was my pick. Now I gotta rethink this. I'm gonna head over to the Miami Marlins here, and I'm deciding between these two guys, but I think I'm gonna go with the more proven one, even though he's coming off of a big injury. I'm giving Sandy Alcantara to be my starting pitcher too. He's still one of the best pitchers in baseball, even coming off of a huge injury. So I'm going to go with Sandy. And then I'm going to go with Matt Chapman to play third base for me.
Ooh, I like that.
Going back with the team value, Matt Chapman played very well last year. He had a 247 average with 27 home runs and is always going to play top tier defense. So I like Matt Chapman to play third.
All right. I like both of those picks, but I'm gonna go with Ketel Marte as my second baseman. I am honestly really surprised he's fallen this far. He was one of the best all-around position players in the National League last year, and I mean, outside of Corbin Burns, the D-backs don't have a ton of superstars. It's Ketel Marte, Corbin Burns, and Zach Gallen, I guess, but even Zach Gallen kind of took a step down last year. So give me Ketel Marte from the Diamondbacks.
All right. Ryan, if you wouldn't mind, have both you guys already drafted Atlanta Braves players? I would just like to check.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I can wait on that pick, which is good. I'll take positional value here. I'll take Xavier Edwards at second base, or team value, actually. But
it's both.
Great second half for Miami.
All right.
So Ryan's the last to pick a player from his own team. I screwed up on the Helsley pick. Definitely should have picked him. I'm gonna go. I can wait on the Braves. That's good. I gotta think. You know what? I'm just gonna take Tatis, center field.
All right. I actually like that pick a lot.
I thought about taking him really.
No one took Tatis. There's a point you have to decide between a player falling too far.
All right. Well, you set me up perfectly because I'm going to go with the better Padres outfielder.
Come on, man. That was another pick of mine.
Give me Jackson Merrill in. Let's go right field. He's not the best defensive outfielder, so I'm going to play him right.
Oh, and Jake's already got a third baseman, so that means Manny Machado is going undrafted.
I could take it. Come on, man. I was going to take.
That's crazy.
I was going to take Jackson Merrill. I completely forgot about Ketel Marte. I should have taken him last round.
Yeah.
And then could take Ryan Helsley, man. Okay.
Oh, wait. I accidentally deleted catcher for you. Make your pick, though.
I'm going to go with to play second base. I mean, I just want to get this team out the way. I'm going to go with Mason Wynn to play second base for me.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Mason Wynn played very well last year. Great defender. So I like Mason Wynn to be my second baseman. And then I've just got catcher. I'm gonna go with the Washington Nationals here. And I'm gonna go with Kyle Finnegan to pitch in relief for me, be my setup man. Kyle Finnegan, a hot name at the trade deadline. He was great last year with posting a below 4 ERA. So I just want to get the Nationals out the way. So I'm gonna go Kyle Finnegan.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Okay, I took a Brave. I took a Philly. I took a Met. I took a D-back. I took a Padre. I haven't taken a Giant yet, but there's not really any. Actually, I'm going to round out my rotation with a really underrated pitcher. Let me go Logan Webb.
I was going to do that.
Probably the last good.
Oh, no, I can't. Never mind.
Probably the last really good San Francisco Giant.
You could have waited, though. We both already have Giants.
You're right, but it's whatever.
I want to see who everyone has, like, just so I can make sure. Have both of you guys drafted a Pirate already?
I haven't.
Okay. Anyways, I'm going to do something that no one's done yet. My last outfielder is going to be Brenton Doyle from the Colorado Rockies.
Pressed on him. It was fun. Brenton Doyle.
And third base, this is where I'm going to struggle. I have Phillies, Marlins. I can wait on the Braves. I don't have Nationals yet. Which means my DH is going to be James Wood. Not the best last year, but he'll have a good year this year.
All right. Jake does have a National, so I don't have to get the Nationals out of the way here. Now it gets tough. Now it gets really challenging.
Yeah.
I have my next pick.
Just give me a sec. I feel like I gotta take an outfielder here. Am I taking a Brewer? I haven't taken a Brewer. All right. I'm gonna go with Jackson Chourio.
Oh, I like that pick a lot.
And I'll play in the center.
That's the pick.
Well,
you already have Brewer. You have a Brewer.
I do? Where? Oh, shoot. Yeah. Oh, no.
That would have been a good pick.
Oh, I forgot. I took William Contreras at the beginning. Okay. I have a Cardinal.
Samuel, do you have a Brewer?
Don't have a Red. I don't have a Pirate.
Do you have a Brewer, Ryan?
Ryan, check to see if Samuel's a Brewer.
I don't think I do.
You can't use Chourio anyway. It's fine.
I need Brewers.
All right.
I'm just going to write down who
I have like someone from every good team. So I'm going to go with I'm going to bank on a breakout season here. I'm going to go with O'Neal Cruz to play center.
It's not a bad pick. I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, that's solid.
I'm going to go over to the Colorado Rockies, though, and I'm going to go and draft Ryan McMahon to play my first base position. McMahon hit 20 home runs last year. Great player all around. One of the more underrated third basemen in all of baseball. But I'm going to play him at first. And I think now it gets to a point where every one of us have drafted basically like every team. So it's like players that are just left on the board. So I'm going to go and just in the case that Samuel does want to take Jackson Chourio, I'll put Jackson Chourio out in center field for me.
I have no room for Chourio.
Yeah, I there's not really any other teams that haven't used yet. I'll put Jackson Chourio in center and a big game tie, 2 home runs in the wild card series. Hit a game tire in the bottom of the 8th against the Mets. I was in attendance for that game, and he's a rock.
What do I have?
All right,
I'm trying to figure out what I have left.
Unfortunately, I also have to take a Rocky. So Wait, have I taken a national? I haven't taken a national. All right, I'm gonna take Samuel. You taking a Rocky? Okay, I can wait on the Rockies. I'm gonna go with a crazy pick. I'm gonna go with one of the best prospects in Major League Baseball. He might have graduated by now. He hasn't really done anything in the majors, but let me go Dylan Cruz anyway.
I like Dylan Cruz.
I'm drafting based on potential.
I thought about taking him.
All right, Samuel.
All right, I gotta figure out who I need. What teams I need. I know I need Brewers. I know I need Braves. What else do I need? I have Phillies, Marlins, Nationals, Mets. I have.
Valley Austin Riley's wide open for you right now.
Yes, but I can wait.
All of us have just picked. I think
We've already. Both you guys have picked Braves, so I can wait on it. I have Cubs. I don't have a Brewer. Do I have a Cardinal? No, I don't.
No.
And then I don't have Reds either.
No.
And do I have Pirates?
No.
Okay. So basically, I need the Braves and I need the whole NL Central.
Jared Jones is wide open.
Yeah.
Ryan, can I see what I need?
Yeah. I gotta wait on my pick anyways.
Okay.
No, you don't.
No, I'm just thinking.
Oh.
Well, I know who I want for the Braves, but. Oh, all right. I guess I'll take this guy. My catcher is going to be Tyler Stevenson from the Reds, I believe, if he's still on.
All right.
That's a weird pick. It's fine.
It's not a bad pick.
My closer, I think I have to go David Bednar.
Okay.
Did not have a good year, I know.
That's a rough bullpen.
It's a very rough bullpen.
All right. I'm gonna go with I need a red. Do I need a wait, do I have a Cub? No. Oh, perfect. Why do I feel like I took Kyle Tucker? Oh, you took him, Jake. Okay. I'm gonna go with I think he's fine as DH, so I'm gonna go with Seiya Suzuki as my DH. Get him out of the outfield where he's one of the worst defensive outfielders in baseball. All right, Jake.
Screw defense. Give me Kyle Schwarber to play catcher for me. Screw the defense, man. He's played catcher in his career.
You have a DH.
I know I have a DH, but Kyle Schwarber's been one of the best hitters in all baseball.
Oh
Walks a lot, hits a lot of home runs. I want him to play my catcher.
That is crazy.
Okay, if we're competing against the Dodgers, how is he going to throw out Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani and Tommy Edman? Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
He's on Kim too.
I mean, there's not really many good catchers available, and I want bats. Okay, I want a high-powered offense, but I also need a bullpen arm, and I'm going to go with who, in my opinion, is the most underrated pitcher in all of baseball. Give me Justin Martinez to be my closer. Martinez was great pitcher last year for the Diamondbacks. Posted an under 3 ERA. Only gave up 2 homers throughout the entire season. Had 91 Ks, and to me, in 72 innings. To me, Martinez is gross. He throws the ball really hard as a tough sinker, and I really like Martinez.
All right. I just realized I have yet to take a Miami Marlin. So give me a reliever, one of the most underrated relievers in baseball, and a guy who got a few opportunities in the closer role last year. I'm going to make him my setup man. Let me go Calvin Fauché of Miami Marlins.
All right. So for my third baseman, I have Brewers, Cardinals, and Braves left. I think I have to just take Nolan Arenado. Still solid pick. in my book. For my starting pitcher too, it'll be Chris Sale.
I'm trying to figure out who I have left. So I haven't taken a Rocky. I haven't taken a Red. And
You should have 2 left. You should have 2 left.
Oh yeah, it's the Rockies and Reds. All right. Who even is the Reds? Wait, so I have what position do I have? I have third and first. Who even is the Reds' third? I don't even know at this point, bro.
Ty France, maybe.
You can take Matt McClain.
Matt
You
McClain or Ty France.
Yeah, you can take McClain at third. But that's okay.
I just want to check.
Or you could take Tovar at third, actually.
Or Yeimer Candelario.
Or they have like Encarnacion Strand at first or something.
Ooh, wait.
Let me check. It's
France was their primary first base. Encarnacion Strand was actually really bad last year. Jeez.
Yeah.
He had a walk-off homer at weekend of the season, too.
Check the Rockies. I have like really bad options right now because the Reds' third baseman was
Espinal,
Santiago
maybe?
Espinal.
We would allow you to take McClain at third. McClain at third's okay. You could do that.
Okay. What about the Rock? Oh, Michael Toglia is not bad. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go Michael Toglia at first, and then since this draft's basically over, I'm gonna just finish my team right here.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'll go with Matt McClain at third. I might have the worst team, but at least my rotation's good.
Oh, you can just finish out mine as well. My last guy is going to be Freddie Peralta from the Brewers.
That's mine. That's mine.
No, that's yours. That's yours. It's Jake's.
Ryan, that's mine too.
I like my team. It's got its rough spots, but I think it's pretty good.
So I have 3 options for my last 2 picks. I could go with Mark Vientos and Michael King, Mark Vientos and Dylan Cease, or Manny Machado and Sean Manaea.
Okay, Jake, I'm not going to lie. You should not be allowed to take Kyle Schwarber at your catcher.
He played catcher before. He counts.
I mean, like college, right?
No, he played in the major leagues with the Chicago Cubs. He played catcher.
He played catcher?
He played
Yeah,
catcher.
he did.
John Lester. He played.
All right, that's fair then. I knew he was catcher at some point. I did not realize it was that far in his career.
He did in fact play catcher. And of those 3 that I mentioned before, I'm gonna go with the Mark Vientos and Michael King. To me, Michael King is better than Dylan Cease when it comes to overall pitcher. Dylan Cease is not as consistent as Michael King. Michael King had his best season last year, and if there is a player that I want the New York Mets to go out and trade for, I want them to trade for Michael King. So that's why I'm gonna go Michael King instead of Dylan.
Okay, so out of our 3 teams, who do we think could beat the Dodgers?
I think all 3 of them can beat the Dodgers, but I think Jake's team is the best.
Overall bats with good pitching.
Let's see Jake's team.
Yeah, your team.
I don't like that bullpen as much, though.
Justin Martinez is really
No,
good.
that bullpen's way better than yours. That's a good bullpen.
Bednar and Presley's not too bad.
Bednar had
I'm taking
very
Martinez
bad
and Finnegan
season
over
last
there.
year.
Presley
Yeah,
was a
Bednar.
World Series. Hey, Presley was the closer on a World Series winning team, so just keep that in mind.
He's not that good anymore. He's okay.
True.
David Bednar posted a 5.7.
Yeah, Jake, your team has your team has no weaknesses. My team has like a weakness with Toglia and
I
McClain.
have a weakness. It's my defensive. It's defense.
Yeah.
Feature. That's my only weakness.
Your weakness is going to be it kind of reminds you of the Yankees this year. Horrible defending.
My defense is good besides Kyle Schwarber.
Like the Dodgers are going to do what they did with the Yankees. They're going to say just make this team play baseball.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Mess up. All right. Solid first episode. Let us know what you think. That's Jake Morganstein, Ryan Schlesinger. I'm Samuel Levin. Have a good one.